Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Voxcaster. I'm your host Dan. On today's episode, me and Brian are diving into part 2 of the Drukhari Codex.
Yes, sir.
Are we ready?
My favorite part. We
I was
left
gonna
off
say
this, and I
we
didn't get
saved
to
this for
talk
you. I
about
know
it.
the anticipation's been getting to you. I mean, I've been getting 27 messages just in the last 5 minutes, but okay, we need to calm down now. But no, essentially, that's what we're going to do. We're going to jump right into the Coven stuff, and then we're going to finish her off as much as we can. So we'll let you take it away with the Prophets of Flesh, and we'll go from there.
Now, I'm a big Coven player. When I started Dark Elder, I was Coven, so this really is my jam. I don't play Cabals. I like the Witches, but Covens are my thing. So starting this off, Prophets of the Flesh, we lost our 4-up invul. It hurts, but the new obsession is Connoisseurs of Pain. At the start of your command phase, each character, grotesques, or monster with this obsession regains 1 lost wound.
Which can be really good at the end of the day.
It is when the grotesques have 4 wounds apiece and Talos have 6 wounds apiece, or 7 wounds
then
apiece.
Homunculus and Urian went up to 6, I do believe.
And they heal you now for like D3 or flat 3, depending on what you do. So
nice.
The second point is each time an attack is made against the unit with this obsession, unless that attack is a strength characteristic of 8 or more, an unmodified wound roll 1 or 3 of the attack fails, irrespective of any abilities that weapon or that model making the attack may have.
So again, back to last episode, Oprah just giving them away. And at the end of the day, it's like, unless you're going to be finding mostly close combat weapons that give you the ×2, you don't see a whole lot of strength characteristics of 8 or more. So.
Justin's Redemptor using strength 14 punch into a squad of racks, I am cool with that. But yeah, like you're gonna justify shooting a las cannon or your big guns into my squad of racks.
Just
mass bolter fire isn't gonna get rid of me. Power from Pain still a 6-up or 6-up invul. Advanced charge turn 2. Turn 3 we get their 5-up invul, so we still get invuls.
Yeah.
But the other thing is I'm pretty sure racks have a built-in 5-up feel no pain now. Like pretty much all the Coven units got a built-in 5-up.
I do believe so, because they did take it away from the power from pain, but I think I mentioned in the last episode they're still finding ways to kind of give you the feel no pains on specific units, which don't get me wrong, if anything in the book's going to get a feel up no pain, it's Coven. Hands down. Yeah. So it just makes sense.
I'm really happy with this transhuman built in with the feel no pains that racks still get and an invul save. So feel like we're still going to be durable. We did lose that strat for moving or regaining the whole unit back.
But then again, we kind of seen that coming. That was just dirty. But again, it's
the Warlord trait Diabolical Soothsayer changed a bit. When this model's on the battlefield, you choose one of the below. Until the end of the battle, add 1 of this to this Warlord's toughness and wounds characteristic, or until the end of the battle, add 1 to this Warlord's movement and attacks characteristics.
Hands down, I don't think you'll ever take free reroll. Yeah, I don't think anybody would ever choose the attack and movement.
I don't know. The movement would keep them up. Like the way Prophets changed or whatever is it's 6-inch auras now, and this will allow the Homunculus to keep up with his racks and his Talos and stuff that are flying ahead, right? So,
but tough 6, 7 wounds.
I know.
I know.
There's options, man. There's options.
But I do get what you're saying. Like, you definitely want to keep him up with it, all that, because yes, the 6-inch aura is giving him that extra 1. But I don't know. Hands down, I think I'd always go first option myself personally.
Like I said, it changed a lot too from the previous edition. Yeah. It used to be D3 command points, and you had a free reroll you could use once per game.
Yeah.
So I do kind of like this setup better because it's a little more useful to what I need. So I can make him a tough beat stick. I can still give him that relic later on. We'll talk about it. It gives him a 4-up, feel no pain, and all that stuff too. So
yeah,
I can make him scary. The relic for the Prophets though is the Vexator Mask. It's pretty much the same as before. You cannot fire Overwatch at me, and at the start of my phase or start of the fight phase, I select one enemy unit within 3 inches of the bearer. That unit is not eligible to fight this phase until all eligible units from your army have done so. So you can't even CP interrupt that. Like, it's just a complete shutdown until everything is fought.
No, and that can be super, super huge.
The stratagem we get now is Sins Writ Large. Use the stratagem at the start of the fight phase. Select one Prophets of the Flesh infantry unit from your army that is within 6 inches of a homunculus. Until the end of the phase, each time an attack is made by a Prophets of the Flesh infantry unit, you can re-roll the hit roll. If the selected unit is grotesque, the stratagem costs 2 CP, otherwise it costs 1. I
Okay.
am pretty happy with this strat, I'm not gonna lie.
Oh no, it's super good. I mean, obviously, like I said, if
20
you're using,
racks, man.
oh
1 CP, and I'm re-rolling all the hits.
yeah,
Or I bring my 15 grotesques out and like 3 squads of 5, and like I can choose. I'm gonna choose this squad of 5, 25 attacks with this cleaver that does
yeah,
strength +1 -2 damage,
yeah, for two
and just mulch
CP.
you with all my rerolls. And there's another strat we'll get to later. I'm pretty sure they kept the reroll wounds.
Yeah, no, there's definitely a lot more combos with this one, and yeah, again for two CP, hands down.
Oh yeah.
And next one down we have is the Dark Creed. So the exception is Distillers of Fear. Essentially, the Aura of Terra, so it's an aura. While enemy units within 6 inches of the aura, or the unit with this obsession, subtract one from the leadership. And then subtract one from combat attrition test made from that unit. So I'm just trying to remember Dark Creed.
Yeah, it was one of those ones that wasn't played much. So
Yeah, and yeah, kind of stayed around the same thing. It used to be models, subtract one from leaderships. Yeah. Um, But in the second point now is each time you make a melee attack for a unit with this obsession that targets the unit with a leadership characteristic that is equal to or lower than the attacking unit's leadership characteristic, add one to the attack's hit rolls. So right off the bat, I'm not exactly sure exactly what Rax or Grotesque's normal leadership is. I don't have that really
it's
offhand.
8, I think.
But again, if you're subtracting
8
one
or
because
9.
of their first aura ability, but
Yeah.
definitely certain things like against like Space Marines, this and that, chances are you're probably not going to get it. But on other stuff, yeah, no, like I said, it could be a decent little combo right there. For the Warlord trait, we're looking at Fear Incarnate. At the end of your movement phase, you can select one enemy unit within 9 inches of this Warlord and roll 3d6. If the result is greater than the enemy unit's leadership characteristic, until the start of your next movement phase, that enemy unit cannot perform actions. If that unit is currently performing an action, immediately fails. It loses the objective secured ability, which is huge. This is the selling point for me on this one right here. It's like, for example, like, could you imagine Necrons? I'm gonna throw it right there. Warriors, 20-man blob with all their stupid rules where it like counts like double, blah blah blah. You drop
Yeah.
down just the homunculus right there with a couple of racks and be like, you're no longer objective secure. I'm sorry. It's
Yeah.
like that's huge right there in itself. So like I said, like this whole thing is definitely kind of like it all revolves around just kind of like I said, combat attrition, shutting down stuff, and I don't know if I would play it a whole lot myself from reading what it is because it's not my
No,
play style.
Profits
But
is the way to go.
exactly, but I still think
Transhuman.
this would be kind of fun. I think
Oh
you could
yeah,
have fun with this one.
I'm probably gonna run triple covens, so I'll probably dip for all of them. But
Hey, get to try. We got some custom stuff to try later on too. But the relic again, I think we were mentioning in the first episode, but the spirit sting again, pushing that pistol weapons.
yeah,
So it's essentially Dark Creed Homunculus equipped it with the Stinger pistol only. Essentially, it's going to be range 12, pistol 3, strength 2, -3, 1 damage. So again, it's going to be a poison 2 up. And each time an attack is made with this weapon, invulnerable saving throws cannot be taken against this weapon. Which, hey, it's great, but you're only
most
doing
things with
3.
invulns have like a 2 up armor anyway, so you're putting them to a 5, but you're only doing 1
Yeah, but
damage.
you're only going to do 3 damage. Like,
Yeah, but it's
why,
good.
why
It,
pistols? Just why pistols? I know you can use pistols in
Oculus
close
has something to
combat,
do.
which is good, but give us something
Gives some
better.
Oculus something to shoot.
Yeah.
I
And
mean, I
then
think they
essentially,
took his hex rifle away, so his character sniping gun he doesn't get anymore. I don't think. I'll have to double
really,
check that.
yeah. No, like I said, we'll look into it a little bit later. But essentially, going to the stratagem, an eccentric killer delivered from afar, 2 or 3 CP. Use a stratagem when you select a Dark Creed core or Dark Creed character unit from your army to shoot with. Until the end of the phase, each time you select a target from attack made by this unit, you can ignore the Lookout Sir rule. If the selected unit is a Talos unit, the stratagem costs 3 CP, otherwise it costs 2 CP. I'm just I'm just trying to reread it because it says use this when a dark create. So unless does Talos have the core keyword? I guess that's where I'm getting a little confused.
Let me go check.
Yeah, that's why I'm just like, well, where does Talos come into this? Because if Talos can ignore the Lookout Sir rule, then goddamn.
I don't see core. They do have core.
Then there we go. All right, goddamn.
Monster core fly Talos. I like it.
And that was from my understanding. If I remember, like whenever I was watching it this morning, when or Scary was doing it, this and that there's a lot that is core in this, and a lot of stuff that you wouldn't specifically think would have the core keyword does actually have the core keyword. So for 3 CP, a Talos that can just ignore Lookout Sir and shoot characters,
Yeah, with
man,
heat
I'd try that.
lances.
Makes up for the stupid pistol that they're trying to give the manga list. So going on to the Covenant 12, if you want to take that one.
The Covenant of 12, the obsession is Butchers of the Flesh. Each time a model with this obsession makes an attack with a melee weapon, excluding relics, improve the armor penetration characteristic of that attack by 1. And if a unit with this obsession is performing an action, it can still make attacks with ranged weapons without that action failing.
Ooh.
So that's interesting.
That I like, because like say if you're doing scramblers or if you're just doing banners, if you decide to go that action.
Yeah, but really racks don't have a lot of shooting. You can put like an os factor 1 every 5 or something like that. But
That's true though, eh?
you're not getting a whole unit of shooting. So you maybe have like 4 guys shooting in a 20-man unit. But
True enough. Like I said, I don't play enough of them, so I was kind of just like, oh, that sounds kind of cool. But yeah, if you're only going to be
I would
running,
prefer it to be like be able to beat something in melee with them. But range is not really a big thing for them.
true enough.
The Warlord Traits, Scarlet Epicurean. Each time an attack is allocated to this Warlord, subtract 1 from the damage characteristic of that attack. So my Homunculus became a Death Guard guy.
Yeah.
Even though I'm painting them white scars, he became Death Guard.
Yeah. I can just see it now. He's experimenting on depth guards, putting the armor on there. Get mine -1 damage.
The Relic, the Flensing Blade, the Covenant of the 12 Homunculus equipped with the Homunculus tools only replaces it, and it has the following profile. The Flensing Blade is Strength User, AP -2, damage D3. It's a poison weapon, wounds on 2 up. Each time an attack is made with weapons target a character unit, that attack has a damage characteristic of 3. So I like that too.
That could be
Makes
pretty
my
decent.
Homunculus kill characters.
Yeah, means better than a pistol.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to get into their face, but just it gives
And
something.
it's like your base free tools too. Like it's nothing crazy. It just made you into a 3 damage machine.
And you're wounding on 2s on top of that. That's the huge part right there. So you're walking into like, could you imagine throwing like him into like a demon prince or something crazy? Wounding you on 2s, 3 flat damage.
I'm fighting Mortarian. It's going to be 2 flat, but whatever.
Oh
I'm wounding him on 2s.
Oh man, I just want to try that just to friggin' run it homunculus into him. Just all right, let's try this. I mean, I'd get my ass handed to me afterwards, but
the stratagem they get is the most inventive demise for 1 CP. Use this stratagem after a Covenant of 12 homunculus unit from your army consolidates. Select 1 enemy character model, excluding vehicle or monster models, that is within engagement range of this homunculus, and roll a d6. On a 2 to 5, that model suffers d3, and on a 6, that model suffers d3 plus 3 mortal wounds.
Okay, I mean, again, it's more ways to be dishing out mortal wounds, and that's what we need.
I like because it wasn't just d6 mortal wounds, so you could still whiff your mortal wounds on a 6 and be worse.
Yeah,
But
no, I am kind of enjoying it. You're starting to see the whole D3 plus 3 a lot more, like when it comes to like this and like weapons and lances, and it just like I said, it's like there's nothing worse. You're paying all this points for an upgraded weapon to just roll like I do, and you're getting like 1 on a D6. At least here, like I said, you're getting the base 3. You're getting base 4 at least.
now with the custom of covens here, it's the same thing. We got 2 of those all-consuming ones. Yeah. Artist of the Flesh became an all-consuming one, so you can't take it with something else anymore. Each time an attack is allocated to a model with this obsession, excluding vehicle models, subtract 1 from the damage characteristic of that attack.
Okay.
That's the same thing as it was before.
Okay, and was it still an all-consuming one only type thing?
Yes, it was. You could select second when resolving an attack against a unit with this obsession, subtract 1 from the damage characteristic. Dark Harvest, which was a popular one, Each time a unit with this obsession finishes a charge move, you can select one enemy unit, excluding vehicle units, within engagement range and roll a d6 on a 4-up that they suffer a mortal wound.
Mm.
Um, Dark Technomancer's changed here because it's now an all-consuming, so you can't take Dark Techno and Masters of Mutagen anymore.
Yeah, they did
So
change it, and
you're
like I
committing
don't
to
want to
being a
say
Dark
it's
Techno.
yeah, like I don't want to say they changed it for the worse, but you're gonna
It's
want to
still
be a
going to
little
be
bit more
good.
careful on vehicles. That's all I'm gonna say. So
No,
read
you,
it.
you
Go ahead and
sh-
read it, and then
with your Talos and stuff, you're going to want to take liquefiers or your
Mm.
grotesques. You could take liquefiers on every one of them because
Yeah.
it auto hits.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, the Dark Technomancers is all-consuming, so you can only take it. Each time a unit with this obsession is selected to shoot, you can choose to enhance any or all of its ranged weapons models in that unit are equipped with. If you do so, until the end of the phase, each time an attack is made with an enhanced weapon, add 1 to that attack's wound roll and 1 to the damage of that attack. But that attack hit roll cannot be re-rolled. If any unmodified hit rolls of 1 are made for that attack, made for attacks with that enhanced weapon, the bearer's unit suffers 1 mortal wound after shooting with this weapon. If the bearer is a vehicle or monster model, it suffers D3 mortal wounds instead. That's the big change right there. Is the D3 mortal
Yeah.
wounds on vehicles and monsters. So now I can pretty much kill a Venom real quick. But
Yeah, because like for example, you have 2 splinter cannons, so you're gonna because the way it works, so it's like essentially you get a mortal wound per weapon that it shoots at. So like on infantry, the most you're gonna get is 1 in like say if it was something that was shooting multiple times. But a
it's
venom
nice
with
because they
2,
kept that FAQ they did too, where it wasn't the firing model that just died. Because like I said, racks only have like
yeah,
1 guy every 5 that has a gun. So when the firing
exactly.
guy died, he was done.
Exactly. But here it's
That
like, for
was
example, you shoot 2 cannons, and again you roll 2d3 and you get 2 threes, and then that's 6 wounds. And oh, sorry, your venom's it's dead. It's like,
yeah. And you can't re-roll. Like I said, if you take the liquefiers, they auto hit, so you don't
and
got to
that's what
worry
you're
about
gonna
rolling
want to
one.
do exactly. Something
So
that you're
I
not
have a
rolling
feeling
for.
I'm running a lot of grotesques with liquefiers.
Do it.
Experimental creations. Just add one to the strength characteristics of models with this obsession. I haven't checked the Urian sheet to see if he still gives strength. I'm pretty sure he does. But
I'm not.
this
I
was your
can't
way
say
to
for sure.
get it without taking Urian, because Urian was a profits only guy. Because that was the other thing, Dark Techno and Experimental Creations. That was another combo I used to take.
Mm.
Because that would give me that +1 strength that Urian would give me if I was profits, which made
Yeah.
me scary in combat. So
Yeah. Because right now I'm just looking at Urian's like super quick. Essentially, um, at the end of the movement phase, select the Prophet of Flesh. Uh, regains the D3. Has a 4-up invuln. Each time is allocated. Because you get +1 to the toughness
yeah,
within 6.
Urian used to give a +1 strength
And actually,
with that
Sculptors of
toughness.
Torment, while a friendly Prophets of Flesh
Yeah,
core units within 6 of this add 1 to the strength and leadership characteristics. So
and
yeah.
Talos kept core.
Yeah.
I don't know if Grotesques did, but I suspect they did. If Talos have it, I can't see Grotesques not.
Probably, yeah.
Um, Hungry for the Flesh. You can reroll charge rolls made for units with this obsession. So again, you can add experimental creations in Hungry for the Flesh if you really want to mess something up.
Mm.
Like I said, turn 2 from Power from Pain. We're advancing and charging. So
Yeah.
Talos move, I think flat 7, flat 8, advance and charge with add 1 to their strength. So they're all of a sudden strength 7, I think.
Something
With
like
the
that.
scalpels. Masters of Mutagens. Each time a model with this obsession makes a melee attack with a poison weapon, excluding relics, that targets a unit that is not a vehicle or Titanic, an unmodified hit roll of 6 automatically wounds the target.
Again, like you said, you're fishing for 6s, auto wounds, and
Yeah, you just don't got to roll for the 4-up to wound on the poison weapons. And that's good with the Stinger Pod. I think Stinger Pod on Talos is a poison weapon.
yeah.
Grotesques don't have poison, so.
Oh no, I suppose.
Grotesques, or Racks, they have poison. They're
Yeah.
homunculus tools, so they're all poison. Masters Torturers is another custom one you can take. Each time a unit with this obsession is selected for the Torturer's Craft Stratagem, which we'll get into later, reduce the command point cost of that by 1.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure Torturer's Craft was the reroll all failed wounds, but I'm not 100% sure, so we'll get into that later. It was either that or Fight Again or something. It's been a while since I played my Drukhari because I've been heavy into the Slaanesh. But
Man, that's the
obsessive.
wrong one.
Well, they told me I was getting a Codex at Christmas, and I've been waiting. It's here, Dan. Obsessive Collectors. Each time an enemy unit is destroyed by a melee attack made by a unit with this obsession, a model in that attacking unit can regain D3 lost wounds. Each model can only be healed once per turn. If the attacking unit is a rack unit, D3 destroyed models can be added back to the unit. These models can only be set up within engagement range of enemy units that are already within engagement range of a unit and no longer count as having been destroyed for purposes of morale test this turn. So that was
Okay.
a fun one. And that one was played a bit in the old edition too. Enhanced sensory organs. I think that's a new one because I never heard of this one before. But each time a model with the obsession makes an attack, the target does not receive the benefit of light cover or heavy cover against that attack.
Which
Like
is
I
not
said
bad, but
earlier.
like I said, it's essentially it's only going to be good on like your vehicles and stuff like that. So like Venoms and stuff.
Yeah, but
But
like I said earlier, I think Flayed Skull, I think it was,
yeah,
they should have had that heavy cover as well. But
true.
Splinter Blades is the last one on this page. Each time a model with this obsession makes an attack with a melee weapon, an unmodified hit roll of a 6, it scores an additional hit. So that would wrap up all our custom obsessions for the
Hmm.
Homunculus Covens. Um,
So next thing
so
down, we
with
just had example of real space raids. We'll kind of just pass through that right
yeah,
now. Real space detachments. And then we'll jump right into the meat and potatoes of the stratagems. So we'll pretty much, I'll start off here on the first page. So the first one's going to be Cruel Deception. It's going to be 1 or 2 CP. Use the stratagem in the movement phase. When a Drukhari unit from your army falls back, you can select for this unit to be eligible to shoot this turn or eligible to declare a charge, or both. So if you select both, it costs 2 CP. Otherwise, it costs 1. So it gives you the choice. So if you're only looking to do the shoot or close combat or charge, sorry, it's just going to be the one. Or like I said, it's nice that it gives you the chance to do
well,
both.
that
But
changed
again,
from the last one because it used to be you were allowed to fall back, shoot, and charge.
oh, is that what it was?
Yeah,
And was it still
and I'm
just
pretty sure it was 2 CP, but
okay? Well, at least here it gives you the chance to actually choose to do
let me
one
open the
or the
old
other in
tome.
case, because like say for example, if I have like warriors, chances are I'm not going to want to really put them back in the combat. So if I'm going to spend the 1 CP just to kind of shoot again.
Cruel Deception. I know that was a popular strat. I always had that on the table because it was
Yeah,
good.
Cruel Deception's 2 CP and use the stratagem if a Drukhari unit from your army falls back. You can still shoot and charge. So yeah, so essentially here it's giving you the option in case you just want to do one. So
Yeah,
I like this
if you're
better
if you're
because like I just said,
slim on
it's
CP,
yeah, well there's that too.
I only got one. I can do something.
The next one's the Great Enemy for 1 CP. So essentially here Brian will be fighting against
Yeah.
himself with his other unit, but use the stratagem in the fight phase when a Drukhari unit from your army is selected to fight until the end of the phase. Each time a model in that unit makes a melee attack against a Slaanesh unit, you can reroll the hit rolls and you can reroll the rune rolls.
The
So I
thing I
mean,
don't
for
like
1
about that
CP,
is it's
super
only one CP.
situational. Yeah, you're only going to use it against one person, but hey, to be able to reroll hits and wounds, like, hey, I'll be honest, you take out your Slanesh demons, I'm playing my Drukhari, I'm going to be using this every single round.
Yeah, but that's one of those things that would be nice with Vect,
Yeah, could you
but
imagine?
Slanesh doesn't get Vect.
Yeah, he
You're just
doesn't
gonna Vect my
care.
Warp Surge, put me to a 3 up or 3 CP to use my +1 invul. It's gonna be bad.
Yeah.
Um,
Next one is the Torturer's Craft for 1 or 2 CP. Use the stratagem in the fight phase when Urian or a Homunculus Coven unit from your army is selected to fight until the end of the phase. Each time a model in that unit makes an attack, you can re-roll the wound roll. If the stratagem is used when a character or a Rax unit that contains 10 or less models selected to fight, it costs 1 CP. Otherwise, 2. So again, it's going to depend on the size of the unit itself.
and that's the one that is referenced above in the custom session.
Yes. Next one we have here is lightning fast reactions for 1 CP. So use the stratagem in your opponent's shooting phase or the fight phase when a Drukhari infantry, vehicle, or biker unit from your army, excluding Urian or a Coven unit, is selected as the target of an attack. Until the end of the phase. Each time an attack is made against this unit, subtract 1 from the attack's
Hold
hit.
up, Dan. Hold up.
It was always like that. I don't think you were ever able to actually use it on a Coven. Lightning fast. Where are we at here?
You were never able to use that in the fight phase.
Oh,
that's new. That's new,
right,
Dan.
And it also dropped to 1 CP because right here it used to be 2 CP, and it used to be subtract 1 from hit rolls against for the. Yeah, use a stratagem in the fight phase or stratagem in a Drukhari infantry vehicle bike. Is targeted by a range or melee. No, it says both. It's the same thing, except it actually dropped to 1 CP, which is huge.
Oh, God damn it.
But you play Coven, so you never able to use it.
I know. Excludes me.
Yeah. Next one down, we have Hunt from the Shadows. Use a stratagem in your opponent's shooting phase. When a Drukhari unit from your army that has the benefits of light cover is selected as a target of a range attack, until the end of that phase, add an additional 1 to that unit's saving throws, excluding invuln saves.
So you get 2 to your saving throws with that for 1 CP, which is nice.
Yeah, and especially now, like
pretty sure everything got an armor save now. It's not all 6-ups anymore, so it's nice.
Yeah, no, it's nice. Like even Warriors, they went from a 5-up to a 4-up, so even them in cover to do banners. No, that's gonna be real nice. Next one down we have is an Alliance of Agony for 1 CP. So use the stratagem before the battle when you're mustering your army. If your warlord is a real space raider archon, select 1 succubus model from your army and 1 homunculus model from your army, excluding named characters, and determine 1 warlord trait for each of the models. So that kind of does the same thing. But here it's saying it's specifically for a real space raider archon. So am I reading that wrong? I just want to make sure. So that is
warlord is a real space armor. Yeah, so it's requiring you to go into the real space stuff if you want to bring the 2 free warlord traits for the other 2.
Oh, okay, so it doesn't even go to a basic raiding force. You need to be a real space raid. Okay, so kind of crappy, but I mean,
it's changed from the previous one, but it's no longer 1 or 3 CP, which is nice. I think it used to be 1 or 3.
It is, but I mean, if you're running just basic Black Heart this and that, you can't use it. That's the only crappy part.
So that was the fun. But whatever.
What's that? Sorry.
I said that was the fun part, but whatever.
So the next one down, Tolerated Ambition for 1 CP. Where are we at here? Use the stratagem before the battle when you are mustering your army. If your warlord has the Drukhari keyword, select 1 Drukhari character model from your army, excluding named characters, and determine 1 warlord trait for it. It must be the warlord trait that it can have. That model is only regarded as your warlord for the purposes of the warlord trait. Each warlord trait in your army must be unique. If randomly generated, roll duplicates. If you cannot use a stratagem to give model warlord trait, or wait, and you cannot. Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's basically if you're playing a Strike Force game, which is like 2,000 points, you can use it twice to give 2 different warlord traits to 2 other guys. It's that thing they've been doing to all the armies in the new books.
Yeah, so it's kind of
instead of 1 or 3 CP for giving 3 CP used to be the thing to give them 2 extra warlord traits. Now you can just pay 2 for 2 more. So
in a way, it's kind of a line. It's kind of like the Alliance of Agony, except you
just a way without the real space.
I'll take it. At least I got a way to do it.
Yep.
So next one is the prizes from the Dark City. Use a stratagem before the battle when you are mustering your army. If your warlord has the Drukhari keyword, select 1 Drukhari character model from your army and give them 1 artifact of cruelty. It must be a relic they can have. Each relic in your army must be unique and cannot use the same stratagem again to give 2 relics. You can only use this stratagem once, unless you are playing a Strike Force battle, and then you can use it twice. Okay. Or an Onslaught, you can use it 3 times.
Yeah, so it's same thing as the other codexes. You give them relics and warlord traits, just 1 CP now instead of 3. If you want to give them more than 1, and
yeah. So in other words, I'm always starting my games.
I'm excited with this because Drukhari relics and stuff are really good. So
man, they're so good, and especially a lot of new ones like relics. Yeah, so good. So next one down, we're still looking at Webway Portal. So again, 1 to 3. Use a stratagem before the battle when declaring reserves and transports. If you are playing a mission without this step, use a stratagem during deployment instead. Excuse me. If you spend 1 CP, you can set up 1 Drukhari infantry, bike, or beast unit from your army in the webway instead of placing it on the battlefield. If you spend 3 CP, you can place 2 Drukhari infantry, bike, or beast units in the webway instead. In the reinforcement steps, it's kind of the same thing. You can only bring them in 9 inches away. So that stays the same. The next one is Pain Siphon for 1 CP. Use a stratagem when the Drukhari unit from your army that is within 6 inches of a friendly Chronos unit destroys an enemy unit with a melee or range attack. Until the end of the battle, that Drukhari unit always treats the battle round as if it's round 5 for the purposes of power from Pain. That's
See,
huge
I like
because
this because it didn't specify Homunculus Coven.
exactly. So it could be a
As long as
Cabal.
I have them taken around.
Exactly. So I think just because of that, you're going to start seeing Chronos more because you were seeing them a little bit with Talos just to kind of give them the
Well,
buffs and stuff.
you're going to
But
see them more because of Dark Techno.
mm,
Chronos have a liquefier, so it
yeah,
auto hits.
true.
And that was what was big with Chronos with Dark Technos. You were seeing them more with that because they had that auto hit thing that was doing 2 flat, and it was Assault D6 or something like that. So
Yeah. But no, could you imagine though, just like having things just boom round 5 and your stuff starts getting
yeah.
like 5 up invulns and
Plus, I think the Chronos had an ability too that let Drukhari reroll wounds around it. I
hmm.
don't think it was locked to just Coven.
No, that's good. And like I said, if you start teaming stuff like that, you're going to start seeing at least 1 minimum 2 on each side of the board. So
It hurts me, Dan, because I know I need 3 more Talos, and then I need 3 more Chronos. And
it's like, so now you need
like, I
6.
should have
Yeah.
magnetized my first 6, and I'm like, fuck.
Shoulda, woulda, coulda, Brian. Shoulda, woulda, coulda.
Shoulda, woulda, coulda.
Next one down is oh wow, I'm gonna butcher this word. Eviscerating
Eviscerating.
Flyby.
Yeah.
Did
This
I
is the
do it?
old strat, Eviscerating's Flyby.
Yeah, but I don't read names. I just do what it does. 1 to 2 CP. So use the stratagem in the movement phase when you select a witch cult unit that can fly to make a normal move or advance. After this unit has moved, select 1 enemy unit this unit has moved across. Roll a d6 for each model in that unit. Adding 1 to the result, the enemy is infantry. For each result of a 5 plus, the enemy unit suffers 1 mortal wound. If the selected witch cult contains 5 or fewer models, this stratagem costs 1 CP, otherwise 2. So yeah, so that's definitely a staple. Anytime you're using a bike unit, like you're always going to use it on your Reaver jet bikes or your Hellions, because Hellions, like I said in the last episode, got good. They're going to get playable. Like I got a 20-man blob, so could you imagine 20 of these guys? Whatever, it's 2 CP, but you fly that over something, and you got 20 dice,
Yeah.
and you're just drop more wounds on 5 pluses, hands down,
I need more
definitely.
bikes.
You need more bikes. You need more Hellions. You need more
I do.
planes.
I
You
do.
need. See, if you weren't buying all this Slanesh stuff, you would have a
No,
lot more Dark Elder stuff.
I was promised a Dark Elder book a long time ago, and Slanesh has just been making me happy.
That's what they do. It's just yeah.
Yep.
Then the
It's
next one now is never stationary for 2 CP. Use a stratagem in the shooting phase after making attacks with the Drukhari unit, excluding aircraft from your army. That unit can immediately make a normal move up to 7 inches. Until the end of the turn, that unit is not eligible to declare a charge. So never stationary.
that's the old Fire and Fade
Yeah,
rename.
well, that's what I was gonna say. Because I'm like, I don't remember that name, but like that's
Yeah,
exactly what it is. So okay, so it's
it's
Fire
they
and Fade.
renamed Fire and Fade.
But the downfall is Fire and Fade used to be 1 CP. Now it is 2. That makes me sad.
Was it one A, or did it get FAQ to 2? I don't remember. For some reason, I
As,
thought it was 2. But
as far as I knew, it was always 1. But like I said, I haven't played in a little bit because I've been
yeah,
kind of waiting off for it. So
I haven't
maybe it did get
I haven't
FAQ'd
touched your
for it.
carry since October. It was just
Yeah, I
announced
just
there I was getting a codex, and then it's just been shit in the bed. Like, come on.
same here. It's like I didn't want to get too invested on the list, and I knew it was gonna change, but yeah.
Yeah.
Next one we have here is Prey on the Weak for 1 CP. Use a stratagem in your shooting phase or the fight phase when a Drukhari core unit from your army is selected to shoot or fight. Until the end of the phase, each time a model in this unit makes an attack, you can either, if that attack targets a unit that was below its starting strength when the unit was selected to shoot or fight, reroll a hit roll of 1. Okay, so reroll a hit roll of 1, so just 1. Okay.
It's reroll hit roll 1, yeah.
And then, well, I just thought it meant like, is it just like 1 single roll?
I
Reroll
don't
a
think so.
hit
I think
roll
it's
of
like
1.
all your hit rolls are
Okay.
1. Because the next bullet here is all failed hits. So
Yeah, if the target the unit has below half strength, this unit select, you can reroll the hit roll. Okay. Like I said, maybe I was just kind of rereading it wrong.
Yep.
But I find that's the thing is like you always have to like reread certain things to make sure exactly like is it one?
That's
Is
how
it
GW wrote it.
I hate it. Next one down, we have Screaming Jets for 1 CP. Use a stratagem before the battle when declaring reserves and transports. Again, if you're doing deployment, you can set up one Drukhari vehicle unit from your army in the skies instead of placing it on the battlefield. So with that being said, Screaming Jets
I
before,
think it's the same thing as before.
but the huge part is I just want to read here to make sure because if you chose Screaming Jets before, you were not able to use Webway Portal and vice versa.
See, this is something that you have because I don't have planes. I went Covens.
I got lots of planes. But
No,
yeah, because like Screaming Jets
sad.
used to be. Yeah, no,
Screaming Jets. Use the stratagem during employment if you have not used Webway
exactly.
Portal
So yeah, so
stratagem.
here they're not limiting you. So you can actually use both.
But you could use it before on a transport. I guess they changed it to vehicle, Drukhari vehicle.
Yeah, which essentially comes to be the same thing, but it's just nice to see that you can actually use Screaming Jets and Webway Portal now. Just gives
Yep.
you more options to kind of put stuff up because before it's like, do you want to keep guys safe or do you want to keep your transport safe? So you had to kind of choose.
Doesn't say though that you can keep the guys embarked in it like the old one does. There's gonna be some people
Um,
that argue that.
those people just need to sit down.
Ooh,
But
Hellions one.
so the last one on this page we have is Deadly Rivals. Essentially, use a stratagem in the command phase. Select one Reaver unit from your army and one Hellion unit from your army that are within 12 inches and visible to each other until the end of the turn. Add one to the movement characteristics of models in these units. And each time a model in this unit makes an attack with a melee weapon, you can re-roll the hit roll,
There
which
you go,
is
Dan.
huge.
There you go.
Because I'm
Two
trying to
CP
think that
though,
it is 2 CP.
but you got 3 attacks now with Hellions.
Oh man, I'm just trying to see. Is this again? I haven't used Hellions in forever, but I don't think I think this is new.
I don't think it's. I don't think it's an old one. I don't recall Hellions having a strat or Reavers having another strat other than Eviscerating Flyby and the other one that did mortals when they did shit. But
Hmm. Yeah, no, that I think that one's gonna be a good one because, like I said, I see myself because I'm still gonna be using my Reavers because like they're still super viable.
yeah,
And like I said, I any chance now if I can bring out a 20-man unit of Hellions, I'm going to do it. If you want to start us off on the next page with Swift outflanking.
yep. Swift outflankings 1 CP. Use the stratagem at the end of your movement phase. Select one Drukhari transport unit from the army that is wholly within 9 inches of any battlefield edge. Remove that unit from the battlefield, and that unit is placed in the strategic reserves. So I can just take my Raider with Dressar and Incubi and take it into reserves.
Yeah, and then just pop them back on the other side next turn.
Yep.
I find
Get
it's
ready
nice
for the
if
blender.
given if given the option to take stuff off to repositioning is huge now,
Yeah.
especially where this game is so heavy on movement and you need to be at a certain place at a certain time, and if you can spare that one turn, like if it's like say turn 3, then for 1 CP to be able to do that, then boom, done.
Especially if you take while we stand, we fight or whatever.
Mm.
Just pop them out so that they don't lose your secondary points.
Yeah.
The next strat's Murderous Descent for 1 CP. Use the stratagem in the reinforcement step. After a transport unit from your army is set up on the battlefield, any units embarked upon that transport unit can disembark after it is set up. But when they do so, they must be set up more than 9 inches away from enemy units.
Ooh, okay.
So that's
So
a
you
combo right there with the first two. You come back in from your strategic reserves, then all of a sudden you can disembark and then move and charge.
hmm.
But
Using
um,
reinforcement steps. Yeah, no, that can be actually pretty good.
oh, I guess you can't move because reinforcements happens. Does it happen at the start or after your movement?
It happens usually reinforcements happen at the end of
Start.
the movement phase, usually.
Yeah, I don't remember. Um, pray they don't take you alive. 1 CP. Use the stratagem in the fight phase when an enemy warlord unit is destroyed by a melee attack made by a Drukhari unit from your army until the end of the battle. Each time a combat attrition test is taken from an enemy unit, subtract 1 from that test. That used to be just a morale thing. You used to
Exactly, but
take
then you
morale
start.
off for the rest of the game if you killed their warlord. Um, enhanced ether sales for 1 CP. Use this stratagem in your movement phase when a raider or ravager unit from your army is selected to advance. Do not make an advance roll until the end of the phase. Add 8 inches to the move characteristic of this model.
Yeah, that stayed the same thing.
Yeah. Crucible of Malediction, 2 CP. Use this stratagem in your psychic phase. Select one homunculus unit from your army and roll 1d6 for each enemy psyker within 12 inches of it. On a 4-up, that psyker unit suffers D3 mortal wounds, and you can only use this stratagem once. That changed. So I don't think it was limited before to 1, and I think it was just 1 mortal wound.
Yeah, just walk him up to Magnus or something, and then.
Well, it was really good in Grey Knights and Thousand Suns, like all those psychers, right?
No, it's true.
It's our only form of stopping psychic. That and our.
So right here we have it. So it was 2 CP, and use the stratagem in the psychic phase. Select the homunculus from your army. Roll a d6 for each psyker within 12. And on a 4-up being rolled, it's d3.
Okay.
Yep.
And it was once per battle.
Yep. So it's the
same. It didn't change. All right.
Haywire.
Next one is Haywire Grenades. 1 CP. Use this stratagem in your shooting phase when a Drukhari Haywire Grenade unit from your army is selected to shoot. Select one model in that unit. That model can only make one attack this phase and must target an enemy vehicle unit within 6 inches of it. But if a hit is scored, that vehicle unit suffers D3 mortal wounds and the attack sequence ends.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, I think that pretty much stayed the same thing.
Yeah. Hyperstim Backlash, 2 CP. Use the stratagem in your command phase. Select one Witch Cult unit with the Combat Drugs ability from your army until the next command phase. Each effect of the Combat Drugs ability on that unit is doubled. If the unit is affected by Painbringer, add 2 to the toughness characteristic of the models affected by the combat drug instead of 1. A model with the File Bouquet Relic cannot be selected for this stratagem.
Okay, so it changed a little bit. The toughness thing changed, but everything else is pretty much the same thing.
Tough 4 witches, or tough 5 witches. Tough 4 against Death Guard. Shock Prow. Drukhari Wargear strat, 1 CP. Use this stratagem in the charge phase when a Drukhari Shock Prow unit from your army finishes a charge move. Select one enemy unit within engagement range of that Shock Prow unit. If selected enemy unit is a vehicle unit, roll a d6. On a 2-up, that unit suffers d3 mortal wounds. If the selected enemy unit is not a vehicle unit, roll 1d6 for each model in that enemy unit that is within engagement range of the Shock Brow. For each dice result that equals or exceeds that enemy's toughness characteristic, it suffers 1 mortal wound.
That could be fun for 1 CP.
That's your Raiders and your Ravagers, is it not?
Yeah.
Those are the ones with our Shock Brows.
Mm-hmm. So it says in engagement.
I don't really want to charge them, but whatever.
No, but you know what? If there's nothing in it and you need to tie something up,
or that if the Dreadnought has like 1 or 2 wounds left sitting on an objective or something, you just want to get rid of it.
Yeah. But see, the big thing here is if the selected enemy is not a vehicle unit, roll 1d6 for each model that's in engagement range. So you charge that in sideways. You run him in lengthwise. So you're going to tag 10 guys. Like I said, it's the last disc drive. You throw him in, you deal some mortal wounds. If he gets you, you hope for the blow up. You deal more mortal wounds. So.
Yeah. And you threw that on my Demonettes. Demonettes are tough 3, so 4s, you're giving me mortals. And you're probably going to tag about 20 of them with a Raider. Yeah. Potent Metallotoxins, 2 CP. Use the stratagem in your shooting phase or the fight phase when you select a Drukhari unit from your army to shoot or fight. Until the end of the phase, each time an attack is made with a poison weapon, excluding relics, by that unit, the ability does not exclude vehicle units. Though it still does exclude. It does still exclude Titanic.
Okay, so essentially so you'll still be doing 4-ups instead of 6-ups
on vehicles,
which can be really big.
Or 2-ups.
Yeah, no, true enough. You because it doesn't say anything about. No, it says excluding relics, and a lot of times it's the relics that are actually what's giving you the 2-up poison. Yeah. There's a couple things that might give it, as we go through it, but yeah. I was gonna say it would only be so simple if that was the chance.
But if you're the Serpent's Kiss or whatever, the Poison Tongue Cabal,
no, true 3. Yeah, 3 on vehicles. That could be definitely huge.
Right? Just might be mass fire.
Yeah, no, it could be good. Like I said, you definitely want to use it on like a larger unit because a lot of times poison
Yeah.
has no AP, so that's what you're aiming for. You're aiming for like the huge amounts of a mass fire, especially all vehicles and that for the most part, it's 3 up armor and.
Yeah. And next up, we have our chapter approved rules, which is our new secondaries from the Codex to
So
see
how
if we
many do
get
we
anything
have
good.
here? We have 1, 2, 3, and
We don't. We
4. So we got 4 here. So pretty much we'll start off. So this one is one of the Purge the Enemy. It's called Take Them Alive. If you select this objective, you score victory points at the end of the battle for each of the following that apply. You score 3 victory points if any character or monster units were destroyed by a melee attack by Drukhari unit from your army during the battle round. Okay, so that has to be melee. So yeah, I can. Yeah, like especially like the way they've been kind of
see. Yeah.
hyping up Succubus and stuff and Archons.
Well, everyone says this is a misprint because the way the first paragraph or the first wording just contradicted that point. Because if you select this objective, you score victory points at the end of the battle for each of the following that apply, and then it's going on about the during the battle round.
Oh, okay, I see what you mean. Because what is the second one? The other one is score 1 victory point if any unit excluding character, monster, vehicle were destroyed by melee attack. Okay. Oh, okay, I see what you mean. So it's like made by Drukhari unit from your army during that battle round. Oh, okay, I see what you mean.
See? And then the
So,
first word was saying it's accumulated at the end, but you're not going to track it through the battle rounds now. So
hmm. Yeah, no, so I'm kind of wondering which direction did they want to? Do you need to keep a tally for the end of the game, or is it actually at the end of the battle round?
not sure.
Because the
Something
next
that's
one
probably
also
going to
says
get
battle
executed.
round.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna
Well, the
say
next
that you're.
one's an end game objective, which makes sense. But
Yeah. So essentially this one right here, Beast for the Arenas. Like Brian said, it's an end game objective. So you score 3 victor points at the end of the battle for each enemy monster, cavalry, or beast unit that was destroyed by a melee attack by a witch cult from your army. That is, if that enemy was Titanic, you score 5 victory points instead. That could be fun, honestly, and I kind of get
I
the
don't know
lore
that
aspect
that
of it.
one's
It's the
that
what's
one's gonna
that?
be very situational.
Oh, hands
Do you
down.
think your do you think witches are gonna kill some monsters, cavalry, or beasts? It's really gonna depend on the list.
So you know what? I'm gonna run a full-on triple witch patrol against your Slanesh.
You can take it on that. I got
Done.
it free.
Exactly.
Hell, my fiends are beasts and my keepers are monsters, and the epitome's a monster. But
Done. I'm just
yeah,
gonna take it for that one time, just so I can do it against you.
you're gonna re-roll everything on me too for
But
once.
then again, I find like whenever like the codexes that we've been going through, there has been a lot of just like super situational ones, which at the end of
Yeah,
the day, like it'll be
there's
fun when you can
usually
finally
one
take them.
standout one that really
Exactly.
stands out to you. So
But so
uh,
next one right here is a no mercy, no respite, fear and terror. Score 1 victory point at the end of the battle round for each small that fled from an enemy unit during that battle round. So I can see that going super well with
hordes.
not so much hordes, but I was gonna say going back to the Coven. Which one was the second one where it's like it's all like attrition tests, minuses, this and
Yeah,
that. Like that one will go really good for that because you're lowering everybody, so you're making people run.
but you look at orcs and you look at Slanesh demons or anything with large squads that lose a lot just from morale.
Exactly.
You're,
You'll
you're
never use
getting
this
it
against
doesn't
Space
limit how
Marines.
many you're getting at in the round. So
Oh, exactly. It's like for any time. So, like I say, against Space Marines and stuff that you can't, they don't even take it. So it's like it's no point.
yeah,
Next one down we have for Battlefield Supremacy, Herd the Prey, and this one is you score 2 victory points at the end of your turn for each table quarter that does not have an enemy unit, excluding aircraft units, wholly within it. This objective cannot be scored in the first battle round. That that
so this
that
one's going to be all about movement blocking, but it gives your opponent control because getting
exactly,
into a table quarter is pretty easy if they're in the mid board.
especially where the tables are smaller too.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't think I
But I
don't think
mean,
it'll
Drukhari
feel
has the speed to get in real fast, but it's heavily going to determine like if you go first, you can move block them, but you're going to die real quick. So you got to keep feeding them. But
but to max out any decent amount of points. So even if you can keep them out 2 table quarters per turn, that's 4 points starting at the second turn.
yeah,
So that's 4, 8.
12.
No, I suppose like you have a potential, but the chances of you holding them to just their 2 deployment, yeah. I
I
don't
don't know.
know.
I feel like the first one and the Fear and Terror one will probably be the easiest to max out from these.
Yeah, because Fear and Terror, you can really build around to make that work. Like I
Well,
said,
especially like if you're against that Horde army that's going to lose like 10 models from fucking morale.
yeah, exactly, and take him alive, like you said. Like as long as that gets errated, and because I can see it being
Well,
battle round for the
you're
simple
still going to
fact the
get it,
first two
but
points. Yeah,
just weird the way they worded it.
exactly. So yeah, so those are
Those are
the
secondaries.
secondaries. Yeah. So
You
running
happy with
after
those?
this. All right. So if you want to start off with this, we're at the Warlord traits, and we will
Yeah.
start with the Cabals.
All right. Cabal Warlord traits. Hatred Eternal. Each time your Warlord makes an attack, you reroll the hit and wound roll. Same thing as it was. Made
Yep.
Archon very scary.
Mm-hmm.
Soul Thirst. Add one to the attack's characteristic of the Warlord once per turn. When an enemy model is within 6 inches of this Warlord is destroyed, this model regains one lost wound. I think that's the same as well.
No, that really changed because essentially it used to be add one to the Warlord's attack characteristic in any turn in which they charge, were
Oh,
charged, or made a heroic intervention. In addition, this Warlord regains one loss wound each time they slay an enemy model in the fight phase. That's what
yeah,
Soul
so it's
Thirst used to
changed to
be.
character. Or no, same model. But they just get the one attack all the time now.
Yeah.
I don't know. Hatred Eternal's still better on Drazar and Archon. So,
Oh no, hands down, Hadrian
oh
Internal
yeah.
all day.
Ancient Evil's their next one. At the start of the fight phase, you can select one enemy unit within engagement range of this warlord. That unit is not eligible to fight this phase until all eligible units from your army have done so.
Hey, that
That's
changed
neat
hardcore because
because
before it used
they
to
got a Vexator.
yeah, but before it used to be just the opposing player must roll an extra dice when taking a morale test within 3 inches of the warlord. So
Yeah,
that changed
yeah.
big
This
time.
changed a bit
I
because they
like this
gave
more.
Cabal a Vexator mask.
Yeah, no, this is
So that
huge.
means I get two Vexator masks when I bring Cabal and my Coven.
No, it's true, and because they're worded completely different, it works.
Yeah.
Because I'm just looking here. Because yeah,
Uh,
because Drazar still has Hatred Internal.
yeah.
Lilith will still have Blood Dancer, and Urian
This
still
would
has
be easy.
Diabolical
Yeah.
Soothsayer. So okay,
Uh,
so going down, if you want to do, I'll do the
I'll,
Witch, and you can take over the Coven stuff.
yeah.
So
Let's
Witch
do
we're looking. I'll give you the or the Coven. Don't worry.
it.
So for the Warlord traits for the Witch cults, we're looking at Quicksilver Fighter. Add to the attack characteristics of this Warlord, and like I've been saying this whole entire time, when it comes to succubuses and just the amount of attacks they get, like you start adding all this stuff together, and like just the amount of attacks, like they're just going to blend everything and anything they go into. Because yeah, because that changed. Yeah, no, a lot of them are keeping the same names, but they are changing quite a bit. Next one is Stimatic. When determining the effects of the combat drug's ability for this warlord before the battle, roll two additional dice, re-rolling results of 6 or the result that was already in effect. This warlord's combat drug's ability has the benefits in these additions to any others. So
That's
like
pretty
you're
good.
literally taking a succubus and you're just pumping her full of fucking drugs, and she's just gonna go crazy and kill even
Just
more
gonna have a
shit.
good time.
Oh man. And the last one here is precision blows. Each time an unmodified hit roll of a 6 is made for a melee attack made by this warlord, the target unit suffers a number of mortal wounds equal to the damage characteristic of the weapon used for the attack, and the attack sequence ends.
That's interesting. So
So that
basically, just auto wounds, but you're going into a mortal wound, not just a regular wound you're
but
gonna
but
take on
think
your
about it, like
save.
you're looking at some of those relics and stuff that do like that replace the archite glaives that are doing 3
Yeah.
damage. Now you're just gonna be start pumping out 3 mortal wounds per 6. I'll
Yep.
take it. So yeah, so if you want to do the coven traits.
The Homunculus Coven Warlord traits, Master Regenicist. Each time this Warlord uses their Fleshcraft ability, target model regains up to 3 lost wounds instead of D3.
So that's the one you were talking about a little bit earlier, that there was
Yeah.
a way to do it just straight up 3.
Yeah. Because
Because that
like
changed
Prophets
actually.
actually heals, but yeah.
Yeah, because before it used to be, I'm looking here, it used to be only the D3s. So the fact that you can just do straight up 3s, like I
Flat
said,
3
with some
healing is nice.
Talos and Chronos and Grotas.
Yeah. Master Nemesin. Each time this warlord makes an attack, add one to that attack's wound roll. I think that changed too.
Add 1 to the wound rolls made for this warlord in the fight phase is what it was.
Okay. Um,
And Master Artisan.
Master Artisan. Add 1 to the toughness and wounds characteristic of this warlord.
Man, no, that's much better here because it used to be just reroll inured suffering rolls for friendly coven models within 6. That's what it used to be.
That was your feel no pain.
Yeah. So I'm kind of wondering though, Master Artisan, because add 1 to the toughness and wound characteristic, but what was the other thing that gave you that?
It's the Prophets of the Flesh.
Oh, okay, and then your beast. Okay, so it's essentially the same thing. It's just giving you it if you want to go to just a basic.
Yeah, it was the Warlord trait.
But hey, it's good. Like I said, if you're making like Dark Technomancer and something else,
yeah,
and then you want to still give your homunculus that, so at least you still got the options to still beef them up. Yep. Yeah. So into the relics. So the way this is going down. So first one's going to be the Parasites Kiss, model equipped with a splinter pistol only. Again, pushing the pistols.
Love our pistols.
12-inch range, pistol 3, strength 2, but again, poison weapon 2 plus, -2 damage. And each time an enemy model is destroyed by an attack made with this weapon, the bearer regains 1 lost wound. Again, it's good, but I mean, you'll never take it over something else.
Helm of Spite.
Yeah.
Is their anti-psychic thing.
Oh, yeah. In your opponent's psychic phase, the bearer can attempt to deny 1 psychic power as if it were a psyker. And if that psychic power is successfully denied, the psyker attempting to manifest suffers peril, so that pretty much stays the exact same. Yeah. Next one down, we have the Nightmare Doll. Homunculus model only. Each time the bearer would lose a wound, roll a d6. On a 4-up, it's not lost. So there's your 4-up Feel No Pain.
Yep, like I was saying earlier.
Then here's Brian's favorite, the Jin Blade.
Yes.
Essentially, yep. So it replaces the Husk Blade. We're looking at Strength +1, so you're looking at Strength 4, AP -3, 3 flat damage. Each time the bearer fights, it makes 2 additional attacks. It makes him even bigger of a beat stick. But at the end of the fight phase, you roll a d6. If the bearer made any attacks with this weapon, on a 1, suffers 1 mortal wound, which, whatever, it's...
So, this stayed mostly the same, except for that damage, because that damage used to be d3.
Oh,
now
really?
It's flat 3. Still -3, still +1 strength, still does the mortal wound thing. You still get your 2 additional attacks, but that became flat 3.
So much better.
And like I was saying earlier, you can pump up an Archon to 14 attacks, fighting twice, with -3, 3 flat. You're going to murder stuff.
Oh, no, hands down. It's, like I said, I love how they emphasize on how killy the HQs are going to be. Next one now we have is the Animus Viate, if I said that correctly.
I don't know.
Something like that. This one's going to be following profile. It's going to be a grenade, 6 inches, grenade 1, but the bearer can only shoot with this weapon once per battle. If it hits, the target suffers d3 mortal wounds. If the target unit has 11 or more models, it suffers d3 plus 3 mortal wounds instead. Until the end of the turn, friendly units with the Power from Pain ability treats the current battle round as being 1 higher than it actually is when determining the effects they gain. Once per battle, I don't think you'd ever take it, but...
Yeah, I like the other ones better, but... Situation.
Yeah, exactly. The next one down is the Trippy Archwhip. We're looking at Succubus model equipped with an Agonizer only. Where are we at here? So it's going to be Strength User, AP -3, 2 flat damage. So it's, again, poison weapon, so you're going to be wounding on 2 pluses. And each time the bearer is selected to fight, add 3 to the attack's characteristics until the end of the phase. Again, you're just giving your Succubus...
that attack or fight twice, like your pile in, where you can consolidate into something else and beat something else. That's going to let you keep your 3 additional attacks. This changed because it used to be -2 and 1 damage. So it got an extra AP and +1 damage.
And the fact that you're wounding on 2 pluses.
Yeah.
With base, I think it was like 6 or 7 +3 plus some of the Warlord traits. No, like I said, like I'm repeating myself, but Succubus has definitely got one of the biggest boosts. Like Archons are definitely beat sticks, but no, man, the amount of stuff that Succubuses can actually dish out in this is ridiculous.
Yeah, I really got to buy some Succubus.
Yeah, same here. I got a couple of custom ones, but yeah, probably gonna have to pick up a couple.
Yeah.
So that pretty much sums up all of the relics, but we will go over quick. We're not going to do
The
any of the
abilities.
data sheets, but yeah, we're going to do like power from pain, combat drugs, because they did change quite, not a huge amount, but some of them did definitely change. So the way power from pain works is the ability only applies if every unit in your army is Drukhari or unaligned unit. At the start of the battle round, this ability gains effects and effect, and they are accumulative. So right from the get-go, turn one, we lost our feel no pain, but now you get an army-wide 6-up invulnerable save.
Which is nice.
It,
I'm
it,
happy
it
with
is
that.
nice for especially stuff like
Well, I guess it hurts the cabals and stuff, but with the coven, we get a lot of that 5-up feel no pain built into our data sheets now.
exactly. The only thing that this just makes me just big old tear come down my eye is just whenever you were using Black Heart and you were able to give your vehicles the feel no pain.
Yeah.
It was nice to have that because in range, your vehicles already have it, and I don't know. Like I said, it's nice to give up a 6-up invulnerable save to all the stuff that don't, but a lot of things already have invulnerable saves, so it's kind of just like why? But
Yeah.
whatever.
Well, some stuff didn't though. Like well, Scourge's involves got better. They went to a 5-up, but I don't
Yeah,
think
Incubi don't
Mandrakes.
have any, so like they gain something. Actually, Mandrakes has a 5-up because of demonic if they
And
kept
they were
it.
-1, but I don't know if they kept that. Um, yeah.
But the big one here is eager to flay is essentially this unit is eligible to declare a charge in a turn which they advance by turn two up. By turn three, Flensing Fury. Each time a model in this unit makes a melee attack, you add one to the attack's hit rolls. If the unit has the vehicle or monster keyword, it does not suffer the penalty for incurring to its hit rolls for firing heavy weapons at enemy units within an engagement range. That's huge. So, say for example, you have a Ravager with 3 Dark Lances or Disintegrators. Everything went to heavy for the most part. So you get surrounded, you're not going to get the -1 to hit. You're still shooting at full ballistic skill, which is huge.
I don't remember reading that stratagem that the Coven used to have that treated the battle round as one higher. Because that would have been able to get my heavies into this thing one turn
Hmm.
higher, which meant I would have been able to use it in turn two.
With like the Talos and Kronos and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Yeah, it would
that's
work.
my heat lances went to heavies
So like if you
and
use that, then essentially by
haywires.
turn two, yeah,
But
you know it.
I don't think that strat's there. I don't recall reading it.
I remember reading something like again, we'd have to
Yeah,
backtrack a
I'll have
little
to go
bit
back.
later on, but there is something that I remember says it treats it one higher. The 4-up though, the Mantle of Agony from turn 4 up was 5-up invuln saves. That's when it starts getting really good by turn
Well,
4.
you take that witch cult or whatever for the +1 battle round, your Hellions start getting involves.
No, true, but like even like witches have 4-ups, but at range it's only 6-up.
Well, Reaver jet bikes didn't have involves and Hellions didn't have involves before.
No, I suppose you'll get a 6-up, you get a 5-up by turn 4, but then again there was so many
Yeah,
abilities that you get to treat it like, say for example with the Chronoses, whenever things are next to it, you treat it as
if you kill
higher and
something, yeah,
exactly. So I mean, hey,
it's already max 5. Let's go.
done.
And turn 5's the same thing. Morale tests automatically
Exactly, and
pass.
that's a huge one too. Because by the end of the game, that's when you want to not have to lose some stuff. But the way, just to make sure it's worded the exact same thing, but it says essentially each time a morale test is taken for this unit, it's automatically passed. If this unit's characteristics can change as if it suffers damage, this unit is considered to have double the number of wounds. Actually, did that change?
That is new. That part of it is new.
Yeah, I was gonna say because I don't
Because
recall seeing
now our
so.
Ravagers and stuff don't fall. Because our Ravagers do keep the power from pain.
Nice, because yeah, because before it used to be subtract one from leadership characteristics of enemy units that are within 6 inches.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because the way it used to be is on turn 4 we were automatically passing it. Here we have to wait until 5.
Yeah.
But the fact that by turn 5, like, because by that point, if you have any
That's when you
vehicles
got
left on the table,
your
yeah,
1 wound Ravager or your 3 wound Ravager that's looking to Hail Mary something, but it hits on 5s.
yeah. But it's to consider having double the number of wounds. So even if you
Yeah.
have 2, it comes up to 4. So
Well,
you'll get
but
to another
there's a
bracket.
way to get into them brackets, yeah, and makes you instead of
Exactly.
hitting on a 5, you're hitting on a 4 or something. It works.
Yeah, and we pretty much explained poison weapons. You know how that works. Essentially, if it's a 4-up, it means you wound regardless. Um, Blade artists again. If you wound on a 6, you improve the armor penetration by 1.
the insensible to pain. That's the thing I was talking about with the covens. They all get it. The 5-up feel no pain.
Yep. And then combat drugs. So yeah, so the huge thing with combat drugs, like I did mention in the last episode when we were going through the witches, is before the way this was done was you have 6 different combat drugs, and you had to each individually choose a different one for every unit, and only once you chose 6 different ones you were able to go back and reuse them. The huge thing now is you don't have that restriction. You can choose the same one 5 times over if you want, or you can take a chance and roll 2d6, and then you get 2 combat drugs.
Yeah.
So I kind of like that. And if doubles is rolled, you roll both dice again. So like they're not gonna jip you if you roll like 2 3s or 2 4s or something like that. But I think that's huge because going through them, so I'm pretty sure they mostly stayed the same, but I'll go through. So the first one is each time the unit fights, if it made a charge move or performs a heroic intervention this turn, then until the fight is resolved, add 1 to the attack characteristic.
That's
that one
the
has
Adrenalite
changed.
one.
Yeah, because that one before you just automatically got +1 to your attacks, but here you have to do charges. So I don't. So that took a little bit of a nerf. The second one is you add 1 to the strengths characteristics.
That stayed the same.
Yep. And the other one is you get +2 to the move characteristic, stayed the same.
Yeah.
Add 1 to the toughness, stayed the same. Weapon skill +1, stayed the same. And the next one is, was it always ballistic skill and leadership to 1?
No, it's just leadership. And it
So
was
here-
leadership by 2.
Nice. And so here, essentially what they're doing is you improve your ballistic skill and leadership by 1. So, like I said, everything else pretty much stayed the exact same thing, except for the fact of the +1 attack. Yeah, got a little bit of a nerf, but again, you're
Right,
witches.
Hypex
You're
and
going to
Grave
be
Lotus were
charging
the
for the
best
most
ones
part,
anyway.
anyways.
Hypex and Grave Lotus were your go-tos anyway. Painbringer, just to make that tough 4 witch blob.
Yeah. But no, that pretty much brings us to the end of all the actual information besides the actual data sheets. Overall, I'm excited. I'm so pumped for what this book has brought us because like everything, and I'm even going to finish this off by saying that I'm not going into the data sheets, but Ravagers, Venoms.
There is one thing I'd like to say about the data sheets. Like the Prophets of the Flesh used to give a +1 toughness or +1 toughness and strength depending if you had Homunculus or Urian Rakarth in your army, and it was just army wide. Now that's a 6-inch bubble, so you only get your toughness if you're within 6 inches of them characters now.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a downfall. Like, and of course, like there's always going to be some takeaways because like they've added so many positives to this that we kind of felt like
Lilith lost her hair attacks.
And at first I was almost kind of wondering if maybe it was just going to be an ability with something, but I went through her data sheet and I didn't see anything with it, so I don't know. It's kind of weird. But like I'm sure maybe there's going to be something else. And like I mentioned in the last episode when we were going through the Witch, especially Cult of Strife, is if you're actually looking at the Book of Rust, there is a whole section there strictly for Cult of Strife with her stuff. So maybe there was something in there that I might have like looked over quick or something. But no, like if you're a Drukhari player or if you're looking to get into another army, Drukhari, hands down, like they're going to be some of the most versatile lists you're going to see. Like you're rarely ever going to see the same person play the same list twice, just because of the whole being able to
basically
mix
3 armies.
It is. It's 3 armies, but especially whenever you're making your triple patrol, you don't have to do 1 Cabal, 1 Cult, 1 Coven. It's like you can do 2 Cabal, 1 Coven, or 2 Witch and 1 Cabal. Like there's so many mix and matches that every army is just going to feel so different. Like I can't remember how many lists I used to make just because I'm looking at it and like there's so many different opportunities to try different stuff just because of how much you can mix it up. But obviously going through it, like we know Blackheart's going to be a big staple, Cult of Strife is going to be a big one, and Prophets of Flesh. It was always that. So they will see definitely a lot more play. I do like the fact that they kept the whole build a coven, build a cult, build a cabal. So it gives you that little thing in case you do want to kind of switch stuff up, because you're not strictly having to take just these 3 different ones. So you can kind of get a little bit of play in it, but at the end of the day, for myself, I always find myself going back to just the basic ones, just because the Warlord Traits, the Relics. They're always kind of stuff that just makes you want to use it for that specific reason. But again, the abilities are just so good. But no,
So
at the end of... Oh, go ahead.
there's one more thing. The Void Mine from the Void Raven bombers changed.
Oh, did they?
Yeah. I figured it'd be a good thing to mention that it changed to once per battle in your movement phase. After the bearer makes a normal move or advances, you can select 1 point on the battlefield the bearer moved across. Roll 1d6 for each unit within 6 inches of that point, subtracting 1 if it has it has the character keyword, excluding vehicle or monster units. On a 4-up, that unit suffers d6 mortal wounds. The
Okay, so it's
previous
a little
one,
different.
the previous one was once per battle, a Void Raven bomber could drop a Void Mine on an enemy unit it moves over. Now we're allowed to select a point. After the Void Raven bomber is moved, pick one enemy unit it flew over, then roll 3d6 each vehicle monster for each vehicle or monster in the unit, or 1d6 for every other model in the unit, up to a maximum of 10d6 for each roll of the 3-up. The unit being suffered was only 1 mortal wound.
Okay.
So they reworded that, allowed us to pick a point that we crossed over, roll a d6 for each unit within 6 inches of that point. So it's not necessarily something we flew over.
Okay, so it's letting you target more than just one unit, which is good at the end of the day.
Yeah, and it went to d6 mortals instead of just 1 mortal.
Which is good because, but like I said, before you were able to roll up to 10 if it was a unit of 10.
Yeah,
So
but this one doesn't have a limitation on it. It's just roll a d6 for each unit within 6 inches of that point that you chose.
Yeah.
So depending how clustered they are or castled they are.
Yeah, so at the end of the day, you potentially could get a lot more, like you said, especially like I said, if it's like they're castling in a corner gun lines or something like that. Because yeah, it's like, okay, yeah, you could have rolled for 10 guys maximum, but there was no way to kill more than 10. But here, like I said, if there's like 5 units, D6, that can start adding up pretty quick. So
Yeah.
and I just love the fact that like you can fly off the table and you're still good to come back. So that's gonna be a strategy. You're gonna just see the Void Raven fly over, drop in, they're just going to fly off the table turn 1.
Yeah.
Drop the bomb right away, dish out as much mortal wounds as they can, and then just come back next turn. I can see a lot of lists probably running 2 Void Ravens just for that simple fact.
Yeah, well, it's not necessarily that you have to fly over the unit anymore. It's just, like I said, you pick a point, and it's within 6 inches of that point.
Mm-hmm. But pretty much what we'll do is like we're past our time right now.
Yep.
But no, super excited for this. We have a lot of plans that we want to try to do with the Drukhari Codex. Down the road, we'll definitely take some time, go over some lists that we've been building, especially where we're both heavy Drukhari players. There's a couple of guests that we're going to try to get back on for some kind of after playing Drukhari for a while, just to be like, how did your list change? What are you finding you're using more now? Like overall as a codex now that it's out and you've played it, what do you like, would you not like? And it just be a lot of fun to see the different lists. And it kind of goes back to what I was just saying a couple of minutes ago is no list is going to look the same. But it'd be kind of fun just to see between 3 or 4 different people playing it is what's that one unit that everybody's using? What's that one Warlord trait? What's that one Relic? Or what cult are you using? Because obviously there's going to be some similarities. But yeah, no, I'm excited to see the list that people come up with and just some of the combos and some of just I'm excited. I've already have 3 lists pretty much wrote up that I'm already willing to play from this morning, and I'm excited to get them on the table, get them all nice and painted, and get some models that have been just kind of sitting there collecting dust and see some play.
Yeah, and to emphasize our Discord a bit more, I'm probably going to be hopping on to paint mine probably within the next couple days or weeks of this episode. So we're usually on there. Feel free to jump into the chat and talk to us. Ask questions on there if you need anything answered. We'll try to help you out. Also, check out our Facebook page or Instagram.
Yeah, we're going to have links to all of that in the description below. And like I said, we try to stay as active as possible. But like Brian was saying, Discord is definitely something that we've been trying to push a lot more because ourselves and a lot of the community are on there daily. Just like you said, answering questions, showing progress pictures, and it's a lot of fun. Yeah, we're going to try to get some live stream on some games. So especially with the Drukhari like stuff that we've been playing around with, we'll probably get a couple of games on the board. You guys can see firsthand how they play. So yeah, so we'll wrap that episode up. So hey, I hope you enjoyed the episode as I did, Brian, making it.
Oh yeah, super excited for this, man.
So we hope you guys enjoyed it as much as we had making it, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Have a good night.
See ya.